first group of former prisoners appeared before reporters after arriving in Madrid. Julio César Galvez spoke for the group.
Somos la avanzada.
We are the first of a group of prisoners of conscience who have just landed on Spanish soil after more than 7 years being unfairly jailed and in captivity.
The released political prisoners left Havana on a commercial flight to begin their new life in exile. Cuba's Roman Catholic Church announced last week a total of 52 dissidents would go free after reaching an agreement with the Cuban government in Spain. Omar Ruiz is another of the freed activists.
It has been stressful. The Cuban government did not keep us well informed. For 72 hours, our relatives did not know if we would be released or not.
The prisoners were part of a group of 75 dissidents arrested in a government crackdown in 2003. The other 23 were released earlier, including Pedro Pablo Alvarez Ramos 3 years ago. He now lives in Miami and questions the Cuban government's motives.
The authorities told us your release is conditional. You either leave the country or stay in jail. They told me you either go to Spain or stay in prison. The other prisoners were told the same thing. It was forced. I think this new release is forced as well. If these people are going to be freed without a guarantee giving them some kind of assurance, they won't be arrested for the same crime. I believe they leave the country because they feel pressured to do so.
Reaction among others in Miami's Cuban exile community is mixed. Among the skeptics is University of Miami professor and Cuba expert Jaime Shishliki. He believes Havana is masterminding the release of these prisoners with the hope the White House will lift the travel ban to the island and change the embargo.
This is a very smart move on the part of the Raúl Castro regime to obtain concessions from the international community with him giving very, very small concession. This is a very small concession because these people shouldn't have been jailed in the first place. So he's getting rid of them, sending them in exile, and Raúl Castro's eye is on the Congress of the United States and on the Obama administration to get major concessions.
Scores of Cuban-Americans have taken to the streets of South Florida in recent days to demand freedom for all political prisoners in Cuba.
We're demanding the immediate and unconditional release of every single Cuban political prisoner, every single one, both those that are well known internationally and the ones who are perhaps held under common criminal charges.
Cuba maintains it holds no political prisoners, only what it calls mercenaries who Havana claims are working with the United States to undermine Cuban communism. Human rights advocates estimate Cuba has 167 political prisoners. For VOA News, Roxana Romero, Miami.